A very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. I'm Michaela Fernando. Before we head into more news in detail, here's a look at your headlines.
Plane crash in Haputale claims the lives of 4, including 2 pilots. Fourth session of the 8th Parliament commences. President says constitutional change required to ensure the people's mandate of the country. Head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards and 8 others killed by US airstrike in Iraq.
Taking a look at your top story, the 4th session of the 8th Parliament commenced at 10 a.m. today under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Speaker of the House Karu Jayasuriya arrived at the parliamentary complex at 9:30 this morning. Subsequently, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya welcomed Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Shortly afterwards, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa entered the Parliament complex. The students of Ananda Balika Vidyalaya sang Jayamangala Gatha in front of the main entrance. Subsequently, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa made his policy statement to the Parliament.
මේ උත්තරීතර සභාවේ අසුන්ගෙන සිටින ඔබ කුමන පක්ෂයකට අයිති වුණත් අප
No matter what political party you represent, everyone's responsibility is to serve the general public and work towards their welfare. 3 generations of the Rajapaksa family have served the general public as their public representatives. From the day the late DM Rajapaksa, who was known as the Lion of the Ruhuna, entered Parliament, he wore a red sartakaya. Although I do not wear this, I will follow the same vision embedded within the symbol of this red sartakaya. I take this opportunity to table my policy manifesto in Parliament. As pledged, my government will work towards developing this nation. Political agendas based on racism was rejected by the general public. The majority of the public proved that they will not allow anyone to steer politics in the country anymore. I invite the politicians to understand and accept this reality. I invite them to join us in strengthening reconciliation instead of spreading racism among communities. Due to the uncertainty and complexity within our country's constitution that has been amended 19 times since 1978, we are facing several issues at present. If we are to protect our country's sovereignty and security, certain amendments to the constitution must be made. While protecting the positive aspects of the proportional electoral system, to protect the stability of the parliament and to assure the direct representation of the public, certain amendments to the present electoral system must be made. Though I was able to win the election clearly with numbers, an unstable parliament that cannot make clear decisions and is constantly subject to external forces is not suitable for a country. A strong executive and a legislator and an independent judiciary that assures the public mandate should be established, and this should be addressed through the amendments to the constitution. We will maintain a neutral foreign policy. We will maintain friendly relations with all countries. However, we will never betray our sovereignty. We will ensure no foreign country will own any national assets or any physical resource with any economic value. I love my country. I am proud of my country. I have a vision for my country. I invite all of you to join me to share the responsibility given to me by the people. Parliament sittings will be suspended till 1 p.m.
මම මගේ රට ගැන ආඩම්බර වෙනවා. මට මගේ රට ගැන දැක්මක් තිබෙනවා. ඉතිහාසය විසින් වත්මන් පරපුර මත පවරා ඇති ඓතිහාසික වගකීම බාර ගන්නට මා සමග එක්වන මෙන් ඔබ සියලු දෙනාගේම මා ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. අද දින අපරභාග 1 දක්වා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව తాවකාලිකව අත්හිටුවනු ලැබේ.
In more local news, State Minister of Investment Promotion, Minister Keheliya Rambukwella, visited the Avissawella Industrial Zone today.
After visiting the industrial zone, Minister Keheliya Rambukwella had a discussion with the industry workers.
This is 183 now. So industrial area totally 180.
Subsequently, journalists questioned the minister. I think certain amendments and certain aspects are needed for the development of the country. If someone might wonder why are they trying to bring another constitutional amendment after the 19th Amendment, well, they should know that India, the biggest democracy in the world, has amended its constitution more than 150 times. It should be amended because of the public interest and not for personal gains. It has been just 2 months since we came to power. To say that they are disappointed now is an exaggeration. This government could have done a lot in 48 hours. But there are central bank reports, special commission reports, and we will take action within a legal framework.
Meanwhile, a ceremony was held to present chairs to welfare societies in the Kadawalawewa area in Jayantipura, Polonnaruwa yesterday. This was held under the patronage of the former President Maithripala Sirisena.
Several public representatives attended the event. Chairs for preschools in the area was distributed in line with the event. I am aware of the prevailing human-elephant conflict. This has become a major issue that is no longer controllable. While I served as a president, I provided the Wildlife Department with 15,000 personnel from the Civil Security Department. However, with the increase in the population, deforestation is on the rise and therefore the issue continues to prevail. The former government and I took several measures to address this issue. Even the new government has planned to implement a program in this regard, and we will support the new government.
Still in local news, Minister of Justice, Human Rights and Legal Reforms, Nima Siripala de Silva, engaged in an inspection tour at the Valikada prison yesterday.
After engaging in the inspection tour, the minister expressed the following views to the media. The distribution and sale of narcotics is the offence and not the possession of narcotics. The police files many cases against those who keep drugs for sale. Therefore, the number of inmates are high as they find it hard to get bail. I, together with the Attorney General's Department, hopes to discuss this matter to provide some sort of relief to drug addicts and making sure that they don't fall to the same level of those who were arrested for selling drugs. My personal opinion is drug traffickers should be punished and sentenced to death.
Up next is Crime Watch.
The woman was killed in the Alawaka area in Nikavaratia. The deceased was a 76-year-old woman. Police said the murder has taken place due to an escalated personal dispute. Remains of the victim currently lies at the Nikavaratia Base Hospital. Nikavaratia police are conducting further investigations into the incident. Remains of an individual was discovered near the walking path at the Kimbulawala Hospital Road in Talawatugoda. Our correspondent said the remains were discovered this morning. The police are conducting further investigations into the incident, while the magisterial inquiry is yet to be performed.